Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Now in my last video I installed adjustable control arms on the rear, and the car also needed suspension work in the front. So let me show you guys what work I did in the front part of the suspension. Alright guys, so this is what I'm talking about. So I changed the adjustable control arms on the rear of the car, but on the front, this is the front driver's side, it also needed suspension work. It needed this lower control arm, so I went ahead and bought that and I changed it out. It needed this sway bar link right here, so I bought that one, and it also needed an inner tie rod, so I went ahead and changed that out. And now the suspension on this side is all good, but I ran into a problem where my steering wheel didn't want to turn to the left. Let me see. So look, if I turn on my car, well, no, it doesn't turn on because the battery's there. Alright, so look, if I turn the steering wheel, the steering wheel doesn't want to turn to the left. It's like, it's just stuck right there. It turns to the right, but to the left is just stuck right there. So I basically bought the inner tie rod for nothing because it needs a rack and pinion. So I got these all three things replaced, and then it turns out, because this inner tie rod was dented, but it turns out that when it got hit, I think it fell in a ditch or something, I'm not sure, but when it got hit, I guess since this shifted in, the full, like this whole piece all the way in there, all the way to the other side, is called the rack and pinion, and that's what connects to the steering wheel. And that's what when you turn the steering wheel, this turns in and out right here, which allows your wheel to turn. So I'm pretty sure that's what's messed up. So right now I'm basically just gonna remove it and turn my steering wheel, and if my steering wheel turns, then that means it's this rack and pinion, that the gears inside are all messed up, and then I'm gonna have to go to my junkyard and buy a new one. Now let me just warn you guys, I have no idea what I'm doing, but there's only one way to learn, and it's to go hands-on, and I'll figure everything else out while I'm doing it. So let me just go ahead and set this camera up. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to be doing is removing these covers right here. Alright, so this is basically the rack and pinion, is this whole metal piece right here. So sorry if you guys can't really see it, but it's kind of tight down here. I'm doing this in my backyard and I'm under my car. I don't have a lift, but basically to remove it, all I have to do is unbolt that bolt right there. There's one over here on this side right here. Unbolt them from the ends of the tie rod, and then there's one more bolt right here. So basically if I unbolt that, that's gonna loosen that up. It should come out right there, and right here it should also come out. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do that real quick. So look, one bolt right here, this is the actual steering column that turns, and then these gears in here are the ones that are messed up. So it's that one I gotta unbolt, this one, and the one over here. So it's three different ones. So let me do that real quick. Alright, so this is the black part that I took out the bolt, and I was trying to pry it right here, but it was actually easier to just put a flathead or just put anything right here on this black piece and hit it with a hammer from the bottom, and it'll hit it up, and then it broke apart right here. So I basically just hammered it up, and then it came out. That was easier. So now it should be out. Yeah, it's out all the way. So now I just gotta go on the other side and remove the tie rod, and it should come out all the way. Alright, so before I finish removing the whole rack and pinion, what I'm gonna do is move my steering wheel, and now if it turns to the left and the right freely, that means that it is the rack and pinion. So let's see. Yep, look at that. It moves perfectly fine now. Yep, no, it moves fine. So let me just center it, turn it off, and finish removing it. So now I know for sure that is the rack and pinion. So now I could just remove it and go change it out. Alright, so what I have to do, it's already unbolted and everything. What I basically have to do is remove this sway bar link right here and then just hang it up here somewhere so the actual sway bar can get out of the way, and then I can wiggle that part out. So let's do that. No hammer. Alright, so there, I got it out the way. Alright guys, so a little bit of an update on the Scion FRS. So yesterday I finished removing the rack and pinion, and then the camera died, so I couldn't do anything about that because I noticed after the camera had died already. So I went to the junkyard yesterday and I got the new rack and pinion, and I'm gonna install that right now. But first I need to center it, so let me go get it real quick. Alright, so this is the new rack and pinion that I got from the junkyard, and now they gave it to me and it's not centered because right here it's longer than right here is really tight. So what I'm gonna have to do is center it. Since my steering wheel, I already had it centered when I took it out, I have to center this, that way the alignment doesn't be off, or not even the alignment, but just so your turns of the steering wheel doesn't be off. Okay, so I can't really, the camera angle is kind of bad, but basically what I'm gonna do is I have this vice grip right here, and I'm gonna clamp on this right here, and what I'm gonna do is turn it all the way to one side until it locks, and then I'm gonna count the number of turns to the other way until it locks to the other side, and then however many turns it is, I'm gonna split that by 2 and do it in reverse. So if I split that number by 2, it should land dead center. Alright, so right there, let's see how many turns until it locks to the other side. 1, 2 and a half. So it only turned 2.5 times. So now let me do it back the other way and make sure that it's also 2.5. 1, 2.5. Alright, so 2.5, and then I have to divide it by 2 so it can be even. So that's about 1 1.25 turned, I think. So 1 and then 1/4 turn. So 1/4 turn would be, yeah, 1 1/4, because 25, 1.25, 1.25 is 250. Yeah, so 1/4 turn would be from here, you just turn it at a 90-degree angle one time. So there. I think it actually did work, because now if you look at them, they're about the same size, or the same distance apart. So right there it should be centered. Alright, so yesterday when the camera cut off, I was kind of struggling to remove the rack and pinion. So what I ended up doing was I went to Advanced Auto Parts and I rented a inner tie rod removal tool. And what I did with that was on the old rack and pinion, this is the new one, but on the old rack and pinion, what I did was I took off this nut right here and took this off, and with the removal tool, I basically removed this whole piece right here, and then the rack and pinion fell off, because I thought I had enough room to wiggle it through here when I removed this, but it was still pretty tight right here. So when I removed the tie rod that was right here, it just fell off. It just fell down, and then I removed it. So that's what I did. And then this is the new one, and I just finished centering it. So now what I'm gonna do is try to try to see if I could get it in there, and if I can't, I'm just gonna do the same thing, just remove the tie rod and then just put it in from the bottom. So first I'm gonna try to wiggle it in, and if I could get it in, then better, but if not, I'm gonna have to remove the tie rod and just put it into the bottom, make it easier on myself. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Alright guys, so I just try to wiggle the rack and pinion through that small opening right there, and it wasn't going in through there because of this part right here. This part is too thick. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to remove the tie rods and then put it in through the bottom, which is basically what I did yesterday to take it out. So if you guys are having the same problem, if anyone's out there doing this to their FRS or BRC, you just have to go to Advanced Auto Parts, where I went to. I don't know if AutoZone has it, but you have to get an inner tie rod removal kit, and then basically you don't have to remove both sides, you just have to remove one side in order so you can put it in through the bottom. And I don't have a lift machine, I'm doing this in my backyard, so sucks for me. So basically, to remove this, all you have to do is remove that clamp right there, and then this metal one right here, you are gonna have to break it because that's not reusable. So I removed that clamp, and then this nut right here, you also have to remove it. So if you guys don't want to do an alignment on your car, I would mark right here where the nut is, so when you put it back, the alignment is still good on it. So just in case, I'm gonna mark it just in case, and even though if the alignment's off, you can just go get an alignment. But I'm gonna go get a piece of tape or something and mark this real quick. Alright, so I just grabbed the piece of black tape and I'm gonna put it right here. So that way I know when I put the actual nut back, I know how far in to screw it. So I wouldn't mess it up. It's probably better to mark it with something, to be honest, because I feel like when I unscrew it, it's gonna move the tape, but fuck it. Alright guys, so what I ended up doing was grabbing 2 vice grips, holding one on the nut, and then because it was being a pain, so then I just grabbed the other vice grip and put it on the tie rod, and I turned. So now now the nut is loose right there. So now it's turning. So now what we can do is remove the vice grip from the nut and put it on the inner tie rod to hold it in place. So now it's in there and it's holding it in place, and now we could just turn this and it should just come out. And there you go. Alright, so I'm gonna remove the little nut. And then the piece of tape that I put on there is still on there, so that way my alignment doesn't get messed up. And I just put some tape around, some electrical tape around here, so that way the vice grip can hold better. So now I can just remove that, and then remove the little clamp. And then, so now for this part, we're gonna have to break this metal seal because these aren't reusable, like once you break them. So all we have to do, once we break it, when we put it back, instead of buying a new one, just grab a zip tie and then zip tie it, and it'll hold it in place right there. So I'm just gonna get some pliers or whatever. Alright, and there, I just took that off. So now this part should just pop right out. Man, that was a bitch. Alright, so the boot's off, the tie rod's off, the inner tie rod is still in there. So I'm gonna show you guys how to use the inner tie rod removal tool. It's really simple. Alright, so here's the tool. And basically, all you have to do is, there's 3 different sizes in here. So you have to find which size would fit right here, because this is the part that we're removing. So I think mine was this one, maybe. So now you see how that one's too big? So it would be this last one right here then. So you put it right there, and then you see how it grips it really nice. So it's that one. That one's for me. So then what you do is this long other thing that it brought in there, you put it in here. And right there. And then you grab a breaker bar or a wrench or something, and you basically just put it in there and turn it until it breaks loose. So my breaker bar is right here. Put the camera down. So you just grab the breaker bar, you put it in here, and then all you do is turn it. Now I'm gonna have to like hold it on one end so it doesn't move, so I'm just gonna lay my foot on it and then just turn it until it breaks loose. Alright, so this thing was actually a really good pain to remove. So since it's out of the car, it's harder to get some leverage and some torque on this thing to remove it. So what I ended up doing was I put one foot right here, like without damaging this part. Obviously I put it on the metal and hold it down. I taped the removal tool to the tie rod end right there so it doesn't move. And then right here with my breaker bar, I just like forced it, and it worked. So now it's loose already. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to finish removing it. So now that it's loose, I don't need this tape no more. I can remove that out of the way. So now that it's loose, all you do is just unscrew it. And bam, voila. So this is basically all that you're removing from here. So my last one, so this one obviously works because when I did the turning in the beginning to center it, it was fine. But my last one, you see this part right here, I didn't notice that when I replaced the tie rod, this part right here, I thought it wasn't damaged, but it was, because it was dented down like that. So that's why it wasn't able to turn to the left. It only turned to the right. So now I got that one out. So now what I'm gonna do is, you don't need to take that one out. So I'm gonna go in the bottom of my car right here, and I'm gonna put that one, I'm gonna like put it in that way, and then this should just align. And I'm gonna put in one bolt to hold it in place real quick. Alright guys, so I just finished installing the rack and pinion on my car, and the space down there was kind of tight, so I couldn't show it with the camera because it was tight space. But I basically just did the reverse of what I did to take it out. After I removed that inner tie rod, I went ahead and pushed it up there, and when it was up there, I put the tie rod back in it, and then I connected the steering to it, and then I went ahead and connected my wheels, the tie rods, to the rotors. And now let's check if it works. So if I connected everything right, it should turn right. It should turn right and left. So it turns to the right. And yep, it turns to the left too. Yep, because at first it was getting stuck right there, but now it turns freely. Alright, so that's gonna be it for this video. Make sure you guys subscribe and stay tuned for my next videos, and thank you so much for watching.